Janet Shell's Classical Collection. My special guest is Rosalind Ventris, who has just taken over as Director of Music at the Yehudi Menuhin School this September. And of course, it's a significant milestone as she's the first woman to hold that role. She's a renowned viola player with a flourishing international career as a soloist and chamber musician, performing at places like the Wigmore Hall, the Concertgebouw, Beaux-Arts, the Royal Festival Hall. She's appeared as a soloist with countless orchestras, and her solo album, Sola, featuring works by 20th and 21st century women composers, was released in 2023 and was nominated for a BBC Music Magazine Award. I began by congratulating her on her appointment, and then I asked her what she thought of the music making when she first stepped into the doors at Yehudi Menuhin School.
I mean, yeah, it's really mind-blowing. I don't know what I was expecting when I came here, but the standard has just been completely phenomenal. And yeah, we've just got a lovely hall, so very spoiled. Of course, I've got ideas coming in fresh, but also I've been really keen. I think when you start any new role, it's really important to learn how a place works, how it operates, first of all. And clearly, we're doing many things really, really well already. And there's a really solid, great foundation here with the curriculum, with what the students do day to day. A couple of areas in particular I'm looking to develop even further are the chamber music provision and the kind of outreach of the school. I'm keen for us to connect more to the community and do more community projects going forward. So, those two things in particular that I'd suggest that people might look out for in the future.
How did you get into music yourself? What's your journey been?
Well, first of all, I can genuinely say that music was always in our house at home. So neither of my parents are musicians, but my mum is a really keen amateur. I mean, she sings, but she also plays the violin and the viola, and has been known to compose even. So she's really interested in music, and my mum and my dad just were always taking me to concerts. My mum was always playing with her friends at home. So it was quite a natural way in to music, I'd say. It was just something that was always in the house. They were either listening or playing with others. So I think I had this feeling of it just being a really positive thing that you should enjoy from an early age. I did actually want to play the harp, first of all. And I think my parents went, that's a bit too big for us to carry around. So I'm now very grateful that I often play with harps. I'm in a flute, viola and harp trio. But I started having violin lessons when I was about 7, something like that, 6 or 7. Almost 7, I think. And then I took up the viola not that long after that and just really fell in love with the tone of the instrument. But I played violin and viola sort of equally until I was about 18. I also went to a specialist music school. So this whole environment here is one that's very familiar to me and one that I really believe in, because I feel like going to that kind of school has really made me into the musician and the person that I am. And I'm very grateful to have benefited from that kind of education. So yeah, it's one I believe in.
Let's look at your first piece of music then. Which one would you like me to play first?
Oh, why don't we start with Elgar? That seems a very good place to start.
Yes. So tell me, you can introduce it to us as well, but tell me a little bit about the Elgar and why you connect with this. What's special about it for you?
Well, it's hard to put into words why, but for some reason I just have always had this affinity with Elgar's music, and I played this piece as a child, and I guess you could say I've been in love with Elgar's music ever since. Also, there's a lovely connection with Menuhin and Elgar, because he, of course, famously worked with Elgar and was the first person to record Elgar's concerto in its complete version. There's a sort of earlier abridged version with Marie Hall, but Menuhin was only 16 when he recorded the whole Elgar concerto with Elgar himself. But that's a wonderful, wonderful recording. Everyone should check that out. But this recording is the Menuhin School students performing, and it's just beautifully recorded. It's before my time, so I can't take any credit for it at all, but it is a wonderful recording of this piece.
So wonderful recording there, and lovely to hear your students as well. What's something then that you're excited about, say in the next few months or the next 12 months? That can be connected to school, or it can be something else for you personally. What does the diary for Rosalind look like?
Well, at the school, I'm really excited about the spring and summer season, because other than I did program the very first concert of the whole year, but other than that, this is my first season in post programming. So the details haven't been announced yet, so I can't really give you too much more information about that, but I am excited about that. So keep your eyes peeled. There will also be things like the Founders Day to look forward to, which is a concert around Yehudi Menuhin's birthday. It has a mixture of staff and students. It's a really, really lovely way to bring the whole school together. So there's that. And then, outside of the school, I've got a big concert coming up at the Wigmore Hall where I'm giving a solo recital, which is based on a CD I did quite a few years ago now, but it's all solo viola music which just happened to be by female composers, and so it's on International Women's Day at the Wigmore Hall. So that's a big thing for me personally to work towards.
Exactly, and you mentioned International Women's Day, and here you are as an international performer, an international woman at the helm of the school now. So there's quite a lot going on there for you as well personally, and that seems like a good way of introducing our next piece, which is you playing. And can you introduce this to me, because I'm not going to pronounce it correctly, so can you give me a step?
Well, I'm hoping I can pronounce it correctly now because I have played it quite a few times. But yes, so I first started looking at this piece back in 2020 when many of us instrumentalists didn't have anyone else to play with, so we were looking for solo repertoire, and of course, as well as looking at my usual Bach cello suites on the viola, which we often are known to play, I was sort of looking at the repertoire more broadly, but also thinking, what can I steal from other instruments? So this piece by Bachowicz, her Caprice Polski, was originally written for the violin, and it's the only piece on the album that I actually ended up arranging. It's just so rousing, so toe-tapping, and I did a little performance of it at the start of the pandemic when I was just sort of trying it out, which was a live stream from home. And it had such a nice response from everyone, and everyone was so encouraging that I thought it would be lovely to include it. The album also had a kind of folky dance theme to it. It was quite a broad theme, but it's kind of based on, or inspired by, I should say, rather, native Polish folk melodies. And the opening works really well on the viola because it's very dark and chocolatey, but it ends in a really kind of fun and flashy way, and it's fun to play.
Great. Well, let's hear that now. Okay, so that was Polka Number 1 by Grażyna Bacewicz, and that was played on her solo album by Rosalind Ventris. Is the school a specialist music school or a school with an extraordinary set of young musicians where they get the highest skill level training?
Well, I'd say both. Really, it is a specialist music school, and was set up, back when there was a kind of a real aspiration for us to kind of, as a country, provide the kind of tuition that people who were super, super talented needed. It's so specific and bespoke what we offer here. So it is a specialist music school. But, having said that, I would also say that, our students can go on to do anything they put their minds to, because we do give that really good grounding in all areas. There's a really rigorous academic curriculum too. It's all testament to the well-rounded education we provide. I mean, just this past summer, the GCSE results, for instance, were just really fantastic. 71% of grades were 97, 100% grades were sort of awarded at a grade 4 or above. So, that's just really remarkable considering what they are also able to do on their instruments. But certainly the hours that they get, and in terms of the music provision and the dedication from the music staff here, is really sort of second to none.
Following this, I asked Rosalind what was happening in the school, maybe concerts that we can go and see in the next few weeks.
This month in November, we've got our lunch and listen on Tuesday, the 18th of November at 1:15. We've got a spotlight coming up later on this month on the 27th. And then in the Winter Festival itself, of course, that's all about showcasing what our students can do. They're playing with the Sorry Mozart players, but we've also got the Family Day as well, where we've got the Snowman with live orchestra, and then a further spotlight and a finale concert with the orchestra and choir and guitar ensemble and all sorts.
So one of the things that obviously I think that really great instrumentalists do, many of them that I've known, is that they also have, whether it's a love, I don't know, but they also have that connection with singing. And I think particularly string players as well, because the way that you play is so similar to the way that a singer sings, actually. So do you bring, is singing a part of the school? Many years ago, it was less so. Has that changed?
We do have a singing teacher who works as a supportive studies teacher. But, also we have what are called morning meetings, which are basically like assemblies, and we always sing a Bach chorale in that, which is such a lovely thing to do. In solfege, it's so do re mi fa so la ti do. We sort of sing to that, and it's a lovely way to start the day. Also, we have a choir and a chamber choir, and both the choir and the chamber choir are showcased in the Winter Festival. So anyone who's able to come along to that, you'll hear some Peter Gritton Christmassy pieces. One of our amazing staff, who is also a composer, Marco Galvani, he's the Deputy Director of Music, is arranging God Rest You Merry Gentlemen for choir and guitar ensemble.
Oh, wow.
The chamber choir, I'm so excited to hear that. The chamber choir are going to be performing Beamish's In the Stillness, as well as Poston's Jesus Christ the Apple Tree. So there's some lovely Christmassy choral music to look forward to later on in the year.
Well, Absolutely. You mentioned the Beamish piece, and you've chosen that as one of your pieces.
So part of the reason that I chose this piece is that my husband is a choral conductor. He's performed it a lot around Christmas, but also I know Sally Beamish, and I've actually recorded with her. And what's more, she is the school's composer in residence, and I just think, it's just such a beautiful piece, all about setting the atmosphere of that quiet church at the start of a carol service while the snow falls down, and it's very effective and moving.
Well, look, Rosalind, it's been fantastic talking to you. And, I'm so thrilled that we have a woman at the helm. You have the legacy now in the palm of your hand, not to put too much pressure on you, but you have that legacy, and I'm sure you're going to do brilliantly with it. I can just tell from talking to you here today. So thank you so much for coming on to the programme, and I hope that people will flock to your concerts. Sometimes it's very hard to get tickets for them, I have to say, so everybody needs to get in early in that lovely concert hall. And also maybe they'll come to hear you personally as well, because you're the steerer of this ship now. So
absolutely. Well, I'll be there, whether I'm playing or listening. I'm there at the concerts, and I'm just looking forward to meeting everyone, meeting our audience, and getting to know everyone. It's just been such a lovely community to be part of so far. So it's all really exciting and positive.
The Classical Collection with Janet Schell.